Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 4 stories for you from the Malicious Compliance subreddit. The Karma Stories podcast is published to all major podcasting platforms, and you can also read along on YouTube under our @Karma Stories podcast handle. If you have a story to submit to the podcast yourself, you can do so by email at karmastoriespod@gmail.com. Alright, on to today's stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Warm Kitten. Professor demands we stick to schedule. We stick to schedule. This was last year. In hindsight, I feel a little bad for the professor. He wasn't the worst I'd ever had, and he was up against a university which was in turmoil behind the scenes and spearheading an untested new course. That being said, I am paying quite exorbitantly for this education, and he was a right snot about this, so hey. It was a history course, and one of the assignments was a group project wherein we presented in front of the class. There was a 3-hour seminar taking place in a lecture hall, the last hour of which was reserved for 2 groups to go up and present at half an hour apiece. This would involve a Q&A session afterwards just to keep us on our toes, I suppose. Professor really emphasized that we pick the week and topic we're going to present in, and that's that. It's first come first serve, and if you miss your spot, you get a 0. Thought nothing of it at the time, seemed fair. Didn't like his attitude, but whatever, right? Well, I won the lottery with the group I was assigned. They were grand lads and a dream to work with. We decided on an advantageous week to present, given our schedules, and we spent the run-up fine-tuning this presentation and really getting it to work. We used a stopwatch and everything. We even brought in outsiders to ask questions we might not predict. All was well. Except we were presenting in week 5, and a disturbing pattern had emerged during the seminars in weeks 2, 3, and 4. For all his talk about keeping things constrained and everyone working within a schedule, whoever went second was screwed. The first group always ran long, and the second group had to make do with, at most, 20 minutes. You could see the stress on their faces. So come week 5, the rest of my group, a little bit more nervous than I am, worries aloud about whether all of our careful planning will be for pot. I decide to throw a Hail Mary, thinking that the worst I could get is a no, right? So I go up right before class starts and ask the professor, what are the odds we might go on first out of the 2? After all, we're sure we have this down to 30 minutes. The dude proceeds to rake me across the coals in front of everyone. It was a normal speaking voice, but the podium was right by the door, and people were filing in. Tells me not to ask such a stupid question, and to go back to my seat. I go back, tail between my legs, pissed off, and sit with steam shooting out of my ears for the next 2 hours. Sure enough, the other group goes first, and sure enough, they run long. We shoot concerned looks to the professor, who is too busy watching the other group to notice. Come 50 minutes in, and the first group is just about wrapping up. The guys in my group are silently freaking out about this. Nightmare, right? That's when the professor stands up, polite applause all around, and then says, well, I guess we're finishing early today, huh? Like a scene out of a courtroom drama, the 4 of us stand up like a shot and ask what the heck is going on. He can't quite hear us from back, and we're all talking at once, so he asks, what's going on? I charge down those steps like King Kong. In the same tone of voice, in front of the same door that people were now filing out of, I tell this guy that we're booked for the assignment today, and we have something prepared. What? Turns out he totally plumb forgot that we were presenting today, and that's why he was so mad at my suggestion earlier. So I tell him we're presenting now to an empty room, or he's giving us 100. The poor guy sure did try, insisted we hadn't signed up this week, we had, insisted that he could schedule us in next week, even assuming 2 of 4 of our group weren't away on placement for their teaching degree, we booked for this week as ordered. Insisted that he had somewhere to be, not my problem, mate. Dude just had to wear it. After making a phone call to, presumably his next appointment, he had to stand there, white as a sheet, and wear it. I'll never forget the look on his face. So we presented to a lecture hall empty of all but the professor and 2 students who, I guess, wanted to see more of the show. We got a great grade to boot. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Bear Lindsay. It says, I was expecting you to stand up in the middle of the first group for your scheduled start time, but this is so much better. Another commenter down below called Real Ultimate Papo said, drama, conflict, victory, embarrassing defeat. This had it all. Lesson learned for the professor, don't be a snot to the little guy. They may just crush your hopes and dreams. And free time. Can we visit one little thing here that's kinda biting at me? Why didn't this professor have a stopwatch? Why didn't the professor cut off the other team when they got to 30 minutes? Even if they thought there wasn't somebody else presenting that day, they set the timelines, so they should have been cutting them off right at that 30-minute mark. Those were the rules. So what is this professor doing? It sounds like they're either indifferent or incompetent, but I'm not quite sure which one. So I'd like to hear from you guys. If you're on YouTube, please comment down below and let me know what this professor was thinking. This story comes to us from Due Date 2024. College administration says that AI is here to stay. It sure is, and it will reduce cheating. I'm a college professor and teach a first-year core linguistics unit. Cheating has always been a problem, more so with the advent of AI, where some students turn in reference-less ChatGPT word salad. There are tools that can detect AI written text. It's not definite, but if a piece of text is assessed as being likely AI written, coupled with a student being unable to defend themselves in an oral viva, then it's pretty solid evidence. I submitted academic dishonesty reports for several students. I was hoping to spend an hour or so on a call in total with those students and ask them questions about their essays. I got an email back from admin saying that they would not entertain having oral vivas, that AI detectors give false positives, so unless there is an actual AI prompt in their essay, we don't want to hear about it. And that even if they did cheat, it's just a sign of adaptability to modern economic forces. They finally told me that I should therefore learn to incorporate AI into my classes. This happened 12 months ago. Okay, college administration, I will learn to incorporate AI into my classes. I'm the course coordinator for the core unit. I have full control over the syllabus. I started to use an AI proctoring software for all my assessments and quizzes. This software can use facial recognition and tracks keystrokes and copy pasting. I also changed the syllabus to have several shorter writing assignments, 400 words, instead of a couple large ones, 1500 words. Before you dislike me for ruining students' lives, this is a first-year course. Additionally, only citizens can enroll in online degrees in my country, and they only need to start paying back their student loans if they earn more than $52,000 a year. The result? Cheating has been reduced to a nil in my unit. All forms of cheating have been abolished in my class, including paid ghostwriting, AI, and human. I was called to a meeting a few weeks ago where a board told me that data analysis showed that a higher proportion of the new students in my major are discontinuing their degree, and that this was forecast to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition and CSP funding over the next few years. They told me that they fear my unconventional assessment method might be to blame. I simply stated that I was told to incorporate modern technologies. We are offering an asynchronous online degree. Our pathos is to uphold academic honesty, and that I offer flexible AI-driven asynchronous assessment options that are less demanding than having to write large essays. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Shadow1432. It says, though I applaud your out-of-the-box reasoning and syllabus adjustment to curb academic dishonesty, I am concerned regarding the invasive nature of facial recognition software and keystroke loggers, what is essentially malware installed on a student's personal computer. I, for one, don't understand how anybody can completely rely on AI for anything. I've played around with ChatGPT myself quite a bit, and that thing hallucinates all the time. It gives you answers that are just completely incorrect, along with some that are, but you just don't know what's right and what's wrong. As far as the professor in this story implementing AI tools to stop cheating, I can understand some of it, but the ones that they decided to use do seem to be incredibly invasive. This story comes to us from Golflip. Maintenance engineer upset we fixed something without him? Okay, we won't fix anything anymore. For context, I work at a hotel with one maintenance engineer. Not a large hotel, so one is enough. Any regular day, he insists I call him about maintenance work rather than putting in a work order so he can just fix it and not have to go close out an order on the computer. This leads to me calling 4 to 5 times a day. I call him for things like broken ACs, hanging up a picture frame, cabinet door falling off. If it's something easy like a light bulb or clogged drain, I just fix it myself. Recently, he took 2 weeks off work for a surgery. I tried to figure most things out myself and only called him if I really needed assistance. Instead of 4 to 5 calls a day, I called him maybe 4 times the entire 2 weeks to let him recover and rest. I tried to fix most things myself and figure it out to not bother him. When he comes back from his vacation, he sees something was installed incorrectly, a shower wall shampoo holder. I put it on the wall but did not grout it. He responded by saying, "If you want to do my job, let me know and I'll go elsewhere," and was generally petty for the rest of the day. Okay, I won't do your job for you. Light bulb out? Call. Phone unplugged? Call. Remote out of batteries? Call. Toilet not flushing? Call. Drain clogged? Call. Probably called over 20 times. Do I know how to fix these things? Of course, but I don't want him to leave, so I'll let him do his job. OP added an edit down at the bottom. It says, 1. It's a 3M sticky strip on the back of a plastic mount. He is upset that I didn't caulk it. No major harm done or tons of work to be undone. 2. We do track maintenance requests to see history and identify recurring problems to catch issues. He just prefers I call him rather than going online to check and close them because he isn't tech savvy. So I'm doing both. OP, do you want to take your malicious compliance even further with this guy? Because he says he wants to be able to do his job and that you shouldn't be doing it. So make sure that he's doing his job absolutely properly. Stop calling him. Start using the forms and the ticketing system. Make him go on the computer, update those tickets, and close them out when they're done. That would be the best malicious compliance ever. This story comes to us from CEO of Rejection 99. Professor, you want a 1-page assignment? I'll give you a 1-page assignment. Don't worry, no hard feelings were caused. Context: for a previous assignment, I had to research a topic, so I made an 11-page document. I admit, it did have a lot of extraneous info though. I didn't want to print it, so I emailed it to my friend to present it on her iPad. When I presented my submission, the professor was confused, so he wanted all of us to redo the assignment, this time only 1 page. So I had an idea. I simply exported a PDF of my original document with all 11 pages on a single sheet, with the feature in Adobe Acrobat where you can print multiple pages on one sheet, that I called my prank file. Don't worry, I also made a legitimate submission that was shortened to 2 pages. The professor was okay with it. I emailed both files to my friend, then instructed her to open my prank submission first, then, right as the professor becomes disappointed in my work, to pull up my actual submission next. Today, I go to class and I eagerly await as I see my friend open the prank file and show it to my professor. We all laughed and he commented on how tiny the text was. Then, she opened my actual submission and I presented that work. He congratulated me on completing the assignment. What a day. OP added an edit down at the bottom. It says, edit. The professor did not specify the 1-page requirement and other things he wanted us to research until the retake. There are only 2 other students in the class. One was a piece of paper with both sides printed, and the other was a 6-page long PDF file. Professor was okay and happy with them both. Prior to the retake, other students also presented multi-page long documents, one of which were 3 sheets of paper with both sides printed. I submitted a 2-page file because I felt it was impossible to shorten the paper down to 1 page without removing the more important info. Plus, our pages had to include pictures, which took up a lot of page space. I figured that it would be the equivalent of printing both sides of 1 sheet of paper anyway. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user whose name I will not repeat on YouTube. It says, "I'm one of those professors. You missed the point. Being succinctly effective is the point." Okay, I feel like I might have missed something on this one, but I'll leave it to you guys to let me know in the YouTube comments. Isn't this just another case of a professor not doing their job properly? They asked for a 1-page assignment, but they didn't ask for it until after the assignment was already completed? What's up with that? And then they allowed them to submit one that was a couple pages long and one that was 6 pages long. So why are you even asking for a 1-page in the first place if you're going to accept ones that aren't 1 page? What is going on here? If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and add us to your favorites on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.